Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
I push that weight to get that dough, but I don't break cause I've been broke. If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again. It ain't no race if I don't win. I push that weight to get that dough, but I don't break cause I've been broke. If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again. It ain't no race if I don't win. Trust I'm coming up for that top spot, coming up for that throne. Trust I'm coming up for that drop top, coupe sitting on.
Hey, what's up? What's good, everyone? Welcome to the very first episode of The Grind. I am your host, Korrey, and we are here to talk about all things wrestling. And I can't wait to start this journey with you all. So, as we go on this new adventure together, I encourage you all, number one, jump on the Sertoba Media bandwagon. Yes, I said bandwagon.
Bring that ass here.
Jump on the train, man. We are on a meteoric rise right now.
I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop.
And I cannot be more happy and more honored to join such a great team of individuals who is looking to change the content game around sports and shenanigans.
We could have been a good couple. We could have had something special. But you one crazy ass.
So make sure you follow us, Sertoba Media, on all platforms. You will see where to find us at the end of this episode. So stay tuned. Third thing, follow me, follow the grind, man. I mean, why not? Be a part of the Grind Alliance. I can't say grind gang because, you know, that ain't really inclusive, so we can't do that. But make sure you join the Grind Alliance. Come on in. Go in with us. Share your thoughts. Share your opinions. Share what you want to see ultimately here on The Grind. And without further ado, let's get into today's episode. So as I sat around and I thought about, what do I want the first initial episode of The Grind to be? And since it's all things wrestling, what better way to get into what we are going to go on is talking about why I love wrestling. Talk about what influenced me. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about the top 15 wrestlers over my lifetime. I'm not telling you my age. You can forget about it. Take a guess. But I will be talking about the top 15 wrestlers in no particular order. Y'all know how y'all like to do. Y'all like to rank everything. What's number 2? What's number 3? What's number 1? No particular order. And what I say is what I said, so it is what it is. But feel free to show your opinion. Drop it down in the comments down below so we can all get together and see why you love wrestling too. So here we go. We're going to jump into this list. And I want you to know that just like Stephen A. Smith said,
keep in mind, the list is fluid.
So I just had to throw that in there. That's kind of fun. The first person we have on the list of the 15 wrestlers who influenced me and how my love for wrestling grew is none other than one of the top 5 wrestlers of all time. The Texas Rattlesnake himself, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And to be honest with you, I'm a millennial. So, I mean, I grew up in that Attitude Era phase. I saw when it transitioned from that into the Ruthless Aggression Era, and that Attitude Era phase is defined by Stone Cold Steve Austin. Without Stone Cold, I fully believe that there is no Attitude Era. He was the definition of attitude. He was the one that went against the grain, the one that said, I don't care who is in the position of management, who is in control, who's the boss. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to do. And you know what? I loved it. His character gave everyone that was in the corporate world a way out, a way of thinking like, what if I was able to be as brave as this guy that goes against the system and not lose my job because I bring in millions of dollars. But he was the epitome of what every other person that is working in corporate America right now would love to do to probably a lot of their bosses. Stone Cold was brash, he was brutally honest, and he did not mind making sure you knew to read in between the lines. But he was the one who set the standard for everyone else when it came to attitude. And Stone Cold Steve Austin gave me that thought process of standing up for what is right versus, hey man, just going with the flow. So Stone Cold, I got to give him his proper due, his proper just due. And, his last match against Kevin Owens was just amazing. The guy is jacked. I am really hoping that he shows up to WrestleMania 41. I would love to see him live in person. And I plan to go to WrestleMania 41. So let's see what happens from there. But Stone Cold, I got to give him his honor first.
And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so.
Second on the 15 most influential wrestlers in my lifetime, Stone Cold's dancing partner. Where would Stone Cold be without The Rock?
Finally!
The Rock started off as a young, brash, terrible babyface. But once he realized and connected with the crowd, The Rock connected with the crowd very early, and he realized that, you know what? I'm probably in the territory of losing my job. So let me try something different. And he shared the story on many occasions where he went to Vince and just told Vince to give him a mic and give him some time. And at this point, he had joined the Nation of Domination. If you don't know who that is, do your history. But when he joined that group and he dropped that first promo, everything changed for The Rock. He became a star. And you realize right then and there that The Rock not only is a multi-talented, multi-generational superstar, but he could absolutely eviscerate someone on the mic, unlike anyone we have ever seen before in the world of wrestling. He had ways of being very comical, but serious at the same time while making you feel like, oh gosh, I'm very, very small. And to be honest with you, his influence is still very fluid to this day, as we see with the Final Boss that is now in WWE. So The Rock, man, I cannot tell you how many times I've wanted to do the People's Elbow, where I saw live right there in the Richmond Coliseum when he did that epic sliding People's Elbow. Amazing. He was just a great, great wrestler, a great, great character. He was really the first person in wrestling, besides another person on this list, that really got me into the character. The person that got me into buy into who he was, and this is actually who he was, even though we had The Undertaker there. And The Undertaker made it believable. He was the greatest character of all time. But The Rock was the one that really made me believe, like, this dude is this guy all the time. Everybody wanted to be The Rock. Everybody wanted to talk like him. Everybody wanted to walk like him. I remember when the People's, eyebrow came out. I can't do it, so I'm not even gonna try. But when the People's eyebrow came out, and he was just literally an aura of energy. Like his aura, what the newer generation say, aura on 9,000. That man's aura was on 20,000 during his time. So The Rock, a genius when it comes to the wrestling game, and the second person on my list of most influential wrestlers in my lifetime. Jumping around a little bit, let's go over to the women's division, because it was some women back in the day that could go. And unfortunately, during my time, women wasn't as valued as the way they should be and the way that they are now when it comes to contributing to the wrestling game. But the one that gravitated to me, and for reasons that, you may know.
If you know, you know.
And for reasons inside of the ring, it is Lita.
Patrick to a matchup.
Lita, to me, in my opinion, because I know a lot of y'all gonna be like, she wasn't the first one, or you didn't watch this. Look, man, I was a kid, okay? I only had access to WWE, so and WCW, so it is what it is. But as far as going in the ring go, throw the caution into the wind. Being able to do the things that the guys can do was Lita. Lita, number one, had a dope entrance theme. I don't care what none of you say. I love it. So fucking Roseback. I had a moment. But Lita is one of those women that defined that generation once they went into the ring. She showed attitude. She wasn't very charismatic, but she made sure you knew that she could go in the ring. And you could tell that she had been training with the Hardys, because the way she does her backflips, her moonsaults, and the twist of fate game, and being able to work the ring, Lita was one of those women who, through wrestling, gravitated me towards her. And she was one of those that made me want to see more women be able to put into position of, wrestling. Hey, let me see what they really can do. Like, let's give them a real opportunity. And I didn't really value how much of an impact she had on me until, honestly, I became older and really started getting into the research, the history of wrestling. So Lita, much love, sis. And let's get to the fourth person on this list here. Jeff Hardy, the charismatic enigma, is next on my list of the 15 most influential wrestlers in my lifetime. Jeff Hardy threw caution into the wind, you all know. And as much as his move to whisper in the wind really captivated me, this man's enigma, when he came out, was so cool. The paint on the face, he was literally the first person that put paint on their face. I know it was others, Legion of Doom and, Doink the Clown and others that did it before him, could care less. But he was the first person that made paint look cool, in my opinion, in what I saw as a kid. I was gravitated to his entrance, how he do his little juke. Everybody's walking around doing the juke. But then, thinking we're all Jeff Hardy, but then we are not as brave as this guy when it comes to the most extreme things happening. I mean, you talking about moments from swanton bombing off of ladders, off of the Titantron, off of different places backstage, off of buildings. This man had no bounds to what he would do to create a moment. And one of the greatest moments I feel in wrestling history is when he finally had won that WWE title. And that match was so amazing, that triple threat match for the title, and how the crowd reacted when he won. And then that very next SmackDown when he came out as the champion, that celebration, oh my God, all the confetti, the music, the pyro, everything was well deserved. And I believe Jeff Hardy is one of the greatest of all time, no doubt. But I believe he should be higher on the list if he had been able to stay a little bit more consistent and been able to stay out of that trouble, man. But Jeff Hardy, man, you really made my childhood really cool. Ask my brother. And he really thought he was Jeff Hardy. My brother, he thought he was Jeff for real. Next on the list, number 5 on my list, no particular order, is one of Jeff Hardy's rivals and early off in his career. And this gentleman captivated me not in the beginning part of his career in WWE, but when he dropped his infamous pipe bomb.
Oops, I'm breaking the fourth wall.
Everything changed. CM Punk. CM Punk's pipe bomb is one of the most iconic moments in wrestling history. That was not CM Punk. That was Phil Brooks. You better believe it. That was Phil Brooks. And he was explaining how disjointed he was, how he saw through what that corporate thought process, rules, regulations, whatever you want to call it, he saw right through that. And CM Punk that day made his name. That Money in the Bank match between him and John Cena for the WWE Championship was one of the greatest moments in history. That Chicago crowd was wild. I watched that entire match live, and to see him sit on the barricade, kiss him goodbye, and leave with the WWE Championship was one of the greatest moments I have ever seen, when someone called their shot against the top dog, the big dog, the person that made the brand in the company, and won and beat the system. Again, remember, we talked about with Stone Cold, how, you know, he was against the grain. He was that guy that was just like, I'm not going against what the corporate wants me to do. I'm going to do what I feel is right. Same thing with CM Punk. He brought back some of that Stone Cold vibes. He wasn't as brash as Stone Cold, but he was not afraid to say how he felt, and he is still the best in the world up to this day. His t-shirt, one of the greatest t-shirts of all time, by the way. And he means that. And today, you know, in his late 40s, getting ready to go into his 50s, if I'm not mistaken, somebody fact check me on that. CM Punk just put on one of the greatest Hell in a Cell matches of all time with Drew McIntyre. It was bloody, it was brutal, it was personal, and CM Punk leaned into that story to help elevate Drew in that moment while elevating his stock. And now I can't wait to see what Punk does next. The grown-up version of Punk. Punk did have some issues coming up, you know, where he admitted that he had some growing up to do, and him and Triple H did not get along for the longest. But I'm so happy that in this world of WWE, that we're able to put personal things to the side, forgive and forget, understand that, you know, mistakes were made, and let's do what's best for business, which is why WWE is booming right now. Thanks to, in part, CM Punk. So we're going to jump from CM Punk right on over to number 6 on this list right now. And I'm telling you, this man was so dope to me. And he did the opposite of what baby faces did. He was basically a heel face, a baby heel, whatever it is you want to call it. But Eddie Guerrero was, oh my God, one of the most undervalued, and as one of the most slept on wrestlers of all time, one of the greatest success stories of all time, Eddie Guerrero used heel tactics in a babyface state and made you love him. He loved to lie, cheat, and steal. And you know what? He lied and cheated and steal all the way into our hearts. Eddie Guerrero was a man who went from a cruiserweight to a heavyweight. Eddie Guerrero is a man that went from a cruiserweight to a heavyweight champion. And I will never forget how he, you know, stuck to his mantra of lying, cheating, and stealing when he became the WWE champion over Brock Lesnar. It was such an amazing moment, such a great feel-good moment, and one of those moments that you just knew, like, for a long time, this person deserved it. You know, and I can think of many wrestlers over the years who have not gotten a chance to be WWE champion, not gotten a chance to be World Heavyweight champion, and they definitely deserved it over some that did. And I am so glad that Eddie Guerrero was able to have his moment before he tragically passed away. Eddie Guerrero also had one of the greatest heel songs of all time. Shout out to Jim Johnston for making sure that that man had a great heel theme for what he was as a character. You know, that rivalry between him and Rey Mysterio was brutal, but it was such beauty behind it. And, you know, fighting for Dom Mysterio, which he got 2 women fighting over him now. Shout out to Dom. But Eddie Guerrero added so much to that story and added so much. He has influenced so many people over the years, and he's influenced one of those wrestlers who is on my top 15 influential wrestlers in my lifetime. Next who I have on the list is CM Punk's wife, AJ Lee. And I do not believe that AJ Lee gets the respect that she deserves. AJ Lee was not your typical diva. She did not follow the trend of being on Total Divas. She was not one of those women that was always in bra and panty matches and in the mud or whatever it was, pig pen, whatever type of matches it was called and everything else. AJ Lee was a wrestler, is a wrestler, a storyteller. AJ Lee was a character within herself, but also very firm on the woman who she was and is to this day. AJ Lee set a different standard when it came to women's wrestling, that she was not going to go down the path of what others had did prior to her, but she was going to be the one who started blazing a trail for the newest generation. And as much as we want to give credit to Trish and to Lita for really starting that, getting that fire for the women's evolution going, I think AJ Lee needs just as much credit, if not more, for standing on her morals, for being who she is, and not swaying in the hey, this is going to get me to the top type of way of doing things. She was the Divas champion for quite some time. And they even got it to the point where she was helping get the next generation over, i.e. Paige, with ensuring that the next level of women can understand that, you know what, you don't have to expose yourself in order to be, you know, this top dog or to make money. You know, you could be a great wrestler, and she was. And one thing I would say about her is, you know, I had to look around before I say it. Don't call her crazy, because she will lose it.
And if you don't believe me, then I guess you're crazy.
Okay, you're crazy. But AJ Lee was great. She added a lot to storylines. John Cena, Kane, CM Punk. She played her character very well, and she's very missed. And I really hope that at the Royal Rumble 2025, we get an appearance from AJ Lee. Next, who I have on the list is none other than Randall Keith. If you was not a part of the era of Randy Orton, when you saw him go from this new guy in Evolution, you know, we can talk about FCW days, but whatever, you know, this new guy in Evolution, young, you know, handsome, pause. And and just a nice young man, young physique. The youngest world heavyweight champion of all time, Randy Orton, was destined for greatness, but he probably was exposed to too much too soon, as he got into a lot of trouble early off in his career. But the great thing about it is that we got to see him evolve, and that was the beauty of what I loved about Randy. When Randy finally went to that place where he heard voices in his head, we saw the most diabolical, the most evil, the most disgusting, vile, one of those most disgusting, vile, diabolical characters in WWE history. Randy Orton did not care about who you were, where you were, how you act, what you had control of, whatever. It was on sight with Randy Orton. And if Randy Orton had a vendetta against you, best believe it's going to end with a punt kick to the head. They talk. The story that he had with Triple H when he had his wife involved, when Vince was involved, and he was punt kicking the whole family. Oh my God. You gotta love storylines within wrestling. Randy Orton then, you know, went on, and, you know, before he did all that punt kicking, he was a legend killer. I forgot to bring this up. When he went from that young, brash kid from Evolution into being the legend killer, oh my God, everything changed for Randy Orton. And he was going around beating down legends left and right. Hogan and Foley and many, many others who Mae Young even. I mean, he RKO'd her. You know, Randy Orton did not care until he started hearing those voices in his head, and he became a different animal, no pun intended. Randy Orton now is one that is jacked, number one, 290 pounds, man. God dog, bro. I don't want to be 290 pounds, but, you know, but Randy Orton looks great. He's still adding to the game. You know, his storyline right now with Cody and Kevin and the Bloodline is just so freaking amazing. And I'm hoping that, you know, he's able to do it for a few more years and be able to help build the next generation of superstars so that WWE can continue to elevate the way it has been over the last, you know, couple of years or so. So Randy Orton, shout out to you. Can you please bring back the punt kick one time? Like, you know, punt kick Cody. All right, y'all. And next, who we have on the list, What's going on? Wait a minute. Hey, I didn't do it. Whoa. Hey, man, what are you? We're here.
I push that weight to get that goal, but I don't break 'cause I've been wrong.